Let's start with inhomogeneous differential equation. Earlier, we have seen how to solve homogeneous second order differential equation, which are given of the form the differential equation in the variable x acting on a dependent variable y is d square y by dx square plus p dy by dx plus q into y is equal to 0, where the source term is 0. The inhomogeneous differential equation is in which this source term is not 0, and we have to find out the solution y of x. We have seen how to solve homogeneous part with the various techniques such as power series, and if not anything else works, look into the table of differential equation. Now question is how do we solve such equation in presence of source term? It is well known how to solve these equations if p and q are constant. That is, you first solve for the general solution to the homogeneous part and then find out a special solution with source term, and then you add these two, then you would get the general solution. However, we are looking for a more general solution for coefficients which are not constant. One of the important method is a method of Green's function, which is very simple in principle, very clear to understand. However, there are some practical difficulties in applying, essentially because of the involvement of a Dirac delta function. In this case, our goal is to find a solution for the differential equation with source term in a closed interval a and b, where we are expecting to satisfy certain boundary condition at a and b. So boundary condition itself dictates the type of solution you can get. So it is important to include the boundary condition in solving the differential equation. So let's quickly look at the overall procedure involving the method of Green's function. Then we can see how to apply it to the practical cases. Let us say we are interested to solve a second order inhomogeneous differential equation of the form given here. This is a general form except added the source term. Now here idea is first to replace the source function s of x by a delta function x minus x prime, where x prime is inside the interval a and b. We know that if x prime is outside the interval, it's not going to do anything. It is equivalent to having a source term 0. So we need to have the x prime inside the boundary and solve for this differential equation, essentially replacing the source term by a Dirac delta function. This solution is now function of both x as well as x prime. X prime is coming from the Dirac delta function, and that is what we call is a Green's function. Once we obtain the Green's function, the general solution is simply given y of x is equal to integral a to b s prime. Look at this, s prime of x into g of x prime dx prime. So it is integrated over the variable x prime, and then you have y as a function of x only, and that would be the solution of this differential equation. Look at this. This is only a principle how to solve it, and we can in general show that the hence obtained solution is in fact is a solution to this differential equation, and it follows very easily from the properties of Dirac delta function. So let's check it out how to do it. So we have a differential operator L of xy is equal to d by dx square plus p of x dy by dx plus q of x. This acts on y giving to s of x. Now we want to check whether the proposed solution is actually a solution. So we apply this on this differential operator, and then we observe that the differentiation is with respect to variable x and the integration is with respect to variable x prime. So they are independent. In this case, we can switch the differentiation and integration, and we essentially pull out the integration and bring in the differentiation. Now you see that this differential operator in the general form acting on a g of x prime, which is a Green's function. We have already seen how do we obtain the Green's function as a source function as a delta x prime. So this differential operator acting on the Green's function should be giving us the delta function. Now integral simply reduces to integral a to b s of x prime into delta x minus x prime. From the property of delta function, this is s of x. Now you see how simple it is to show that the solution obtained from the Green's function in fact satisfies the inhomogeneous differential equation. Now one more interesting property of a Green's function is that the Green's function is defined for the differential operator and it is not for the source term. Once you have differential operator, you can obtain the Green's function by assigning delta function as a source term and then use it on any arbitrary source function. Now, physically, it is interesting to see how does this work. The one of the physical interpretation is that the delta function is known as a point source. Now, the linear differential equation, you can superpose any number of solutions and that would also lead to a solution. So, here we are basically decomposing our source term as a number of point sources represented by delta function and then summing it up. That is what essentially this expression means, that you are assigning each point on the source to a solution obtained by delta function, and then you have obtained the general solution. Now we are physically very much familiar with this approach. We have used in the electromagnetism now and again that the point charge gives a potential of 1 by r, and then we sum it over an arbitrary charge distribution, and that is what we call is the principle of linear superposition, and that here we are using formally to solve an arbitrary source function. And instead of just Laplace equation, we are using an arbitrary differential equation to solve it using the method of Green's function. There, it looks rather simple, and let us see whether it is equally simple to apply it on a given problem. Let us see what are the practical problems we face because we use delta function as a source function. We have our variable here x in the closed interval from a to b, where we want to look for the solution for the given differential equation. And we are using delta of x minus x prime as our source function, where x prime is in between a and b. Otherwise, it does not really make any sense to call it an inhomogeneous differential equation. Now, we know that delta function means that it has an undefined value. You may call it 1, you may call it 10 or infinity, whatever. So, for all practical purpose, we don't know what is the value of delta function at x is equal to x prime. But it divides the entire region into two regions where you have delta function is 0 from a to x prime, and here all you have to solve is an homogeneous differential equation, that is L of x acting on g left is equal to 0, where source function is 0 here because delta function is 0. This we call is a left hand side solution because it is a left of x prime, or x is smaller than x prime. This solution g left should also satisfy some boundary condition at boundary x is equal to a, or left side boundary condition. We have a region from x prime to b. In this region also delta function is 0, and in this region also we have to solve a homogeneous differential equation L of g right equal to 0. So g right is a solution which again need to satisfy the boundary condition at x is equal to b. These boundary conditions are original boundary condition given for your differential equation with the source term. Now we have done solving in these individual domains. Now we have to look at what happens at x is equal to x prime. This is what we should be worrying about, because everywhere else problem seems to be solved. Clearly we want both solution to be matching at x is equal to x prime. That is, we want g left of x prime is equal to g right of x prime. That is, as a limit x going to x naught, or limit coming from right hand side and left hand side, should have a same value so that the function smoothly matches with the at x is equal to x prime. So let us see how pictorially one would see this as a function matching. We have solution y left and y right, which does satisfy certain boundary condition at a and b, and which need not match at x is equal to x prime. Such solutions are not interesting to us because we want our solution to be smooth across the boundary. That is, we would like them to match. So the match again can happen in several ways. The solution to be matched smoothly, that means solution and all its differential could be matching at x is equal to x prime. That is called the smooth. And there is another way of match, like for example, mod x function matching at x is equal to 0. The function mod x from positive and negative side both takes the same value at x is equal to 0. However, their differential do not match. So we have all these conditions. In the case of Green's function, we really have to see what happens to the first derivative across this point x is equal to x prime. We will look at that little later when we look at the example. For that, we need the property of a differential equation also. Let us go ahead and use it for an example. Let's take an example. Let's solve a differential equation d square y by dx square plus y of x is equal to x in a region between 0 and 1. That is the interval in which want, and the boundary condition which we need is y of x at x is equal to 0 and y of x at x is equal to 1 should be 0. This is as if you have a string attached at x is equal to 0 and at x is equal to 1, and the condition is that you have to solve it. You have to solve this using the method of Green's function. Of course, if the last line is not given, if you are simply asked to solve this problem, then you could exploit the loophole in the question and try to solve it using the standard method, which you all very well know. You have to solve this equation with the standard method. Then you simply have to find out general solution to the homogeneous part and the particular solution to the general part with the source term. And we know that the general solution is a sin x plus b cos x, and that the particular solution is yp is equal to x. It is very easy to show that that is a solution because second derivative is 0, y is equal to x, and the other side is also you have x. So that does satisfy the particular solution, and you have a general solution is given by this expression. Now, does it satisfy boundary condition? No. Now it is easy to get the boundary condition. You know that the sin x is 0 at x is equal to 0 and x is also 0 at x is equal to 0. We ignore the cos term because cos term is not 0 at x is equal to 0, and one-sided boundary condition is easily satisfied with the solution y is equal to x plus a sin x. Now all we need to find out is a such that boundary condition is satisfied at x is equal to 1. So at x is equal to 1, we want y to be 0. We substitute this 1 plus a sin 1 is equal to 0. That simply implies that a is equal to minus 1 by sin 1. So once we put that, we satisfy all the condition and the general solution. The solution which satisfies this boundary condition is given by y is equal to x minus sin x by sin 1. So this is in fact is a rather trivial thing which I drag too long. Let's try to solve this using the method of Green's function. We have a and b which is 0 and 1, and then we have to solve this differential equation with the boundary condition. Now first thing we need to do is to solve for the Green's function, that is a replace the source term by the delta function, and what we get is a Green's function which is a function of x and x prime. So we get d square g by dx square plus g is equal to delta of x minus x prime. That means we basically have divided our interval by x prime, which is in between a and b. Now once we divide this, we know that we have solved on the left hand side an homogeneous differential equation, another homogeneous equation on the right hand side. Those equations are same, but the boundary conditions are different. On the left hand side, we have a d square gl, that stands for left hand side solution, by dx square plus gl is equal to 0, which need to satisfy boundary condition gl of 0 is equal to 0. On the right hand side, we have gr of x by dx square, gr stands for right hand solution, plus g of r of x is equal to 0, which satisfies the boundary condition gr of 1 is equal to 0. So this is what we need to find out, both g1 and g1. So it's fairly straightforward. Let us do this in a simple way. It is clear that from differential equation in the boundary condition, the left hand side solution gl of x should be equal to al into sin x. Because the boundary condition here x is equal to 0 is equal to 0, the cos term doesn't appear here because of cos term doesn't satisfy that boundary condition and it goes away. We left with the solution AL sin x. AL stands for the constant on the left hand side. Now let's look at the right hand side. It is again clear that the right hand side solution should be of the form A of r into sine x minus 1. It is interesting that how does it come about? The one way you would say that the general solution to the differential equation is a cos x plus b sin x. Now you have to substitute, you have to say the condition is at x is equal to 1 is equal to 0. That means you say that 0 equal to a cos 1 plus b sin 1. And you have to find a and b. That's a rather long calculation. You are a mathematical physicist, often try to think intuitively. We know that the sign of our argument, if it is 0, then the function becomes 0. All we have to do is the shift your origin from 0 to 1. So then the sine solution becomes 0. You don't have to take any cos solution if you take this kind of a solution. So general solution is AR sine x minus 1. Once we have done with it, we have got the left hand side solution and the right hand side solution. All we need to do is match that solution at x is equal to x prime. That means that the g of L should be equal to the g of r at x is equal to x prime for all values of x. How would you do it? Because you can assign, manipulate AL and all that thing. But there is a trick involved here. You exactly know what is the value of GL at x prime. You also know the value of GR at x prime. Now simply adjust your constant such that they become equal. And the trick is, say your constant AL is A times GR of x prime. Now that naturally takes the value of A, GR prime, and then you have sine x prime. That would be your value. Now your g prime of r will be sine of x prime minus x. On the other hand, if you choose the constant AR to be a GL of x prime, that is your a into sine x prime, and then you are multiplying with the GR of x, that again at x is equal to x prime would be sine x prime minus 1. So now you see that the function automatically matches. Constant A can be any arbitrary constant which we can further play around to match the derivative. Now once we do this, we see that the solution matches, but derivative need not match because it is not necessary to match. In fact, we got to find out A such that derivative of these two match at x is equal to x prime. But nevertheless, we have found an easy method to match left hand solution and right hand side solution, leaving out the constant. Now what we have here is a GL of x given as AL of AL into sin x, which matches with the function A. Now what do we have? We have a GL which is AL sin x. We have a GR which is a AR sin x, which satisfy their respective boundary condition. We have matched them using the constant AL is equal to A into GR of x prime, and AR is equal to A into GL of x prime. Putting it all together, we have our Green's function which satisfies the boundary condition on both sides, and matching at x is equal to x prime is given by g of x into x prime is equal to A GL of x into GR of x prime. And when x is less than x prime, when x is greater than x prime, we have A into GR of x and GL of x prime. Because in this specific case, we can explicitly write down the Green's function for the differential operator which we have. Use Green's function g of x prime is equal to A into sine x into sine of x prime minus 1 when x is less than x prime. And we also have A x minus 1 into sine x prime for x greater than x prime. The difference comes because of the delta function at x is equal to x prime. These two solution match all. Okay, are we there yet? No, not yet. Let's see what we have got so far. So we have Green's function find in two regions around x prime. That is g of x prime is equal to a sin x into sine of x prime minus 1 when x is smaller than x prime. That is, we call it as a left hand side solution. On the other side, that is right hand solution, is given as a sin x minus 1 into sine x prime when x is greater than x prime. In this case, we have matched both solution, that is the value of left hand solution and right hand solution match at x is equal to x prime. However, the question is what happens to the first derivative of g, that is a Green's function, at x is equal to x prime. Is it smooth or is there some problem because of delta function? We have not yet answered that. Let's have a look at it. So let us evaluate derivative of Green's function, that is g prime of x prime at x is equal to x prime. Let's start with the basic ODE. What we have is a d square by dx square of g plus g of x prime is equal to delta xy. So this is what we have solved to get the Green's function. And let's integrate with respect to variable x in a closed region around x is equal to x prime. That is, we integrate this differential equation from x prime minus epsilon to x prime plus epsilon, and then take the limiting case epsilon going to 0 to check the behavior of first derivative of Green's function. Now what we get is an integral from x prime minus epsilon to x prime plus epsilon d square g by dx square dx plus x prime minus epsilon to integral x prime minus epsilon to x prime plus epsilon g into dx is equal to integral of delta function. Now we definitely know that the integral of delta function has to 1 because we know that the region contains the delta function because we have constructed the interval around the delta function. So that is what gives you integral to be 1. On the other hand, we have already matched the function, that is a Green's function, that is right hand solution is equal to left hand solution. If we take epsilon to be very small, we can assume that it is constant around that point and pull out the integral as epsilon going to 0. We find that left hand solution and right hand solution match, and that gives the second term of the integral to be 0. So what we left with only first term, that which we have to evaluate very carefully. Let us do that. Now let us clear out and write down the only terms which we have. That is, one is the integral going from x prime minus epsilon to x prime plus epsilon d square g by dx square is equal to 1. That is the identity which we have. We can immediately integrate this. It is the exact integral, and what we get is the first derivative of Green's function, that is exactly what we want, evaluated across the boundary, that is x prime minus epsilon to x prime plus epsilon. That is right hand side and left hand side, and that is equal to 1. That is the identity which we get from integrating this. Now once we explicitly write down this limit, that is what we have is a derivative evaluated at x prime plus epsilon minus derivative of Green's function evaluated at x prime minus epsilon, and limit epsilon tends to 0. So this is basically is the derivative on the left hand side and derivative on the right hand side, and epsilon tends to 0. It is equivalent to derivative evaluated at x prime, and that is what we get is equal to 1. Surprisingly, derivative of the Green's function is discontinuous at x is equal to x prime. So this does not say anything about the solution. It is only tells about the Green's function which is discontinuous at x is equal to x prime. Now what we have seen that it is not the smooth Green's function which we have. We have a Green's function which is like a mod x. Function is continuous, but the first derivative is discontinuous. So this is what we have to exploit to evaluate the constant a, which we have not yet got. So we know now what kind of a value g prime takes, and we can substitute this and get the condition for a. So we substitute this directly, and what we get is a into g prime r of x into g l of x prime minus a into g prime of l of x into g r of x prime evaluated at x is equal to x prime should be equal to 1 because of the discontinuity. We can pull the common term out and write the equation to evaluate constant a in terms of the derivative of the Green's function at x is equal to x prime. That is what we have is a is equal to 1 by g prime of r into gl minus g prime of l into gr. We can clearly identify this expression. This is exactly is the Wronskian of g left and g right evaluated at x is equal to x prime, or that is we say is a w of gl of x gr of x evaluated at x is equal to x prime. That is a way to find out the constant a. Once we find out the constant, we have computed the complete Green's function in the region. The derivative of Green function with respect to variable x is a discontinuous at x is equal to x prime. This is clearly due to the presence of delta function on the other side, and we can exactly evaluate the discontinuity based on the integral properties of delta function and then using the properties of differential equation. And now we can continue and find the solution using this Green's function. Of course, let's go ahead and see what we have here. We have here the Green's function, which basically given by a into sine x into sine x prime minus 1 when x is less than x prime, and when x is greater than x prime, what we have is a into sine x minus 1 into sine x prime. Now the constant a is given by 1 by gr into g prime of x. There is no a here. gl into g prime of r evaluated at x is equal to x prime. Now carefully look at this. This in fact is the Wronskian of a left-hand solution and right-hand solution that is evaluated at x is equal to x prime. Interestingly, that is where the Wronskian appears, that left-hand side solution should be linearly independent with the right-hand solution at the point x is equal to x prime. If that doesn't happen, we cannot determine the coefficient a and the solution will not match, and we cannot solve using the method of Green's function. However, in this case, let's compute and see. We find that the gl of x is equal to sine x, gr of x is equal to x minus 1. This in fact is a linearly independent. We know that it is essentially having a sine x and the combination of sine x and cos x, which would be linearly independent because you can do it after a very, very long calculation. So you see that this differentiating sine, differentiating cos, multiplying them all involve very, very lengthy calculation. So if you have a good patience, you can do it and you get a value of sine 1. Then you have a constant which is fairly simple. A is equal to 1 by sine 1. Now we have a full Green's function given by this expression. We have a constant a determined by 1 by sine. Then we have a left-hand solution of x, and then we have a right-hand solution of x prime. Then when x is greater than x prime, we have right-hand solution of x and the left-hand solution of x prime. So this gives the Green's function. We still have some more work to do. We have to find out the solution. Solution is basically integrating the source function multiplying by the Green's function. So that is integral a to b s of x prime g of xx prime dx prime. In our case, we have a source function is simply as a x prime. So and then this complicated Green's function which we have to multiply and integrate. So let's again closely look at it. What we have is our domain. Once you have given the value of x, you integrate this from a to b. In this case, it is 0 to 1. X prime, this variable in the integration, goes from 0 to all the way till 1. But there is a problem. The Green's function are different on the right hand side of x and left hand side of x. We have earlier done in a comparison with the x prime. So that is, we have said that the right hand solution is right hand to x prime and left hand solution is left hand to x prime. Now we are doing it with respect to x. So it is getting interchanged. What is left to x prime is a right to x and vice versa. So that is what leads to another confusion which one has to be very clear. That is why I am showing this explicitly. When you go from x prime during this integration from 0 to x, you will have your x is greater than x prime. So then you have your Green's function is explicitly given as a g of x prime is equal to 1 by sine 1 into sine x minus 1 into sine x prime. Now when we go from x to 1. In this case, x prime is greater than x. In this region, we have a Green's function given by 1 by sine 1 sine x into sine x prime minus 1. Earlier, we have taken the reference value as a x prime, and we said that whatever left to x prime is a left-hand solution, whatever right to x prime is right-hand solution. Now here we have to rearrange them. There is no way consistently do it. There you flip it, here you got to redo it. Best standard way is to follow this x prime as your reference and rearrange this with respect to x here, and you simply do the right kind of a Green function. Whenever x is less than x prime, you have to use a left-hand Green solution. When the x is greater than x prime, you have to use right-hand Green's function. So once we have this point is clear, we can go ahead and do this integration. That is integral y of x is equal to integral 0 to 1 x prime, that is our source, and then we have a Green's function g of x prime dx. Now we split this integral into two parts. Here integration is done with respect to x prime, and then the variable x is part of Green's function. Now easy way to do it, separate the region into two parts, is by breaking the integral at point x. Then we have a integral going from 0 to x. We have first part, and then add it up to integral going from x to upper limit, that is 1, into again the second part. It is basically splitting the integral into two by taking different limits. Once we do that, in this each region, we substitute the appropriate Green's function. In this region, you see that your x prime is always going to be smaller than x. Then we use this Green's function, that is 1 by sine 1 sine x minus 1 sine x prime dx prime. On the other side, when we start from x to 1, our x prime is always greater than x, because x is the lower limit here, and then we choose appropriately the other Green's function, and then we do the integration. Of course, this integration is fairly straightforward. You don't have to spend long hours as you done the finding out the Wronskian. You can done at the flip of a second. For doing this integral, one more point to notice is that x here is a constant with respect to the variable which you are integrating. The variable which you are integrating is with respect to x prime. So we can pull this out, that is sine 1 is constant and sine x minus 1 is constant in this case. In the second part, sine 1 is constant and sine x is constant. We pull it out and then rewrite the integral, and then it is fairly straightforward. You can integrate this and find out the solution y of x to be x minus sine x by 1. So this is the calculation. I expect you to do it on your own and check whether this is the actual solution. It looks fairly long and non-trivial to do this calculation, but once you find the Green's function, it is fairly straightforward to obtain the solution for the arbitrary source. You can replace the source by any other source. Green's function once need to be determined for a given differential operator. Now we have used the simplest differential operator in this case. However, the amount of difficulty in finding out the solution for a complex differential operator is also going to be same level of difficulty. So it doesn't depends on how hard the differential equation is. It just the method gives you a way to solve it. Whether the differential equation is simple or complex, it simply gives you a method to solve an inhomogeneous differential equation. In the case of this simple differential operator, you have a standard method to solve them and get the solution to inhomogeneous differential equation. However, as the differential equations get the complicated, one need to use a method of Green's function to solve them. I'll stop here